September 15th is the anniversary of the Constitutionalist revolution in Portugal in 1820. And if you're having a little bit of difficulty recalling the details, you have my sympathy. See, apparently it went sort of like this. Portugal was invaded during the Napoleonic Wars, and so they moved the capital to Brazil, which they still owned at that point. And then the British took over, and they tried to impose liberal ideas on a society that wasn't very familiar with what those were. In fact, a lot of people struggled with what is an idea. And then the king came back from Brazil. This is King John VI, who evidently wasn't even interested in government. He just liked to go hunting. Then his brother died of smallpox. He became the regent, and he took over, and he kind of liked running things. But his wife totally hated him. She hated liberal democracy. She hated his manners. She hated his personality. She hated everything about him. And then there was this army coup in 1820 that imposed a liberal constitution, which the king kind of put up with. And then there was this counter-revolution in 1823, which the king also put up with, though he died in 1826. Apparently, he may have been poisoned by his wife. When I said that she did not like him, I was not understating the case. Now, okay, I could go on, and maybe you feel that I already have. But if you're wondering what you're meant to get out of that, the answer really is nothing. Because Portugal didn't get liberal democracy. It got autocracy, it got military coups, it got a facade of constitutional government with military coups and instability, then it got a genuine dictatorship. And this horrifying, well, I was going to call it a story, but it's not really a story, is it? This succession of incidents goes on into the latter part of the 20th century. And it confirms the maxim of Chamfort that it's only the history of free people that commands our attention. That of men under despotism is just a series of anecdotes. And they're often very instructive anecdotes, though they're also dismal anecdotes. But it's amazing when you try to assimilate the history of a place that doesn't have freedom, it is really, really difficult because the human mind works through stories. It's stories that tell us who we are, who we're meant to be. And nations will have these weird stories about themselves. But for the most part, they don't really connect up with any kind of coherent understanding of what's happening now. And even in a place like France, you look at the Edict of Poitiers, under which the king proclaims that there's going to be toleration of Protestants, and you think, oh good, France is finally getting out of this obsession with imposing religious uniformity by force. But no, it's grudging, it's partial, and as soon as the kings can, they repeal it. There's more war, there's more killing, there's another declaration of toleration. That one wasn't serious either. It's amazing in how much of the world you really don't have history in the sense of a story with heroes and villains that moves from a less desirable to a more desirable condition. Now, I'm not suggesting that all is well in our world too. It seems to me we achieved a great deal of liberty and a flourishing society, and it's slipping away from us again. But when you study Canadian history, yes, here are Canadian values for you. Freedom, the dignity of the individual. People like Stephen Langton, the Archbishop of Canterbury, who's the prime mover behind Magna Carta. Our devotion to monogamy. There are all kinds of things that went into making Canada great and did so in the way that, if you look at something like T.F. Tout's first book of British history, published in Edwardian times, it is the story of how we became a great and free people. And other places, it's not just that they don't have the great and free, they don't have the story at all. So if you have that great good fortune to be part of the story of the triumph of liberty in the English-speaking world, cherish it. Tell it to your children, to your friends, to your neighbors, to your colleagues, and make sure it doesn't all slip away and we wind up with nothing but a collection of anecdotes.
Thanks for watching. Click here to never miss a Rebel update. Want even more of the Rebel? Well, click here to become a premium member.